Hi, Matt with etrailer. If you have a 2023 Toyota RAV4 and you're looking for a roof rack that has a lot of integrated features and a lot of bang for your buck, then the Inno Roof Rack is going to be a great option for you. So let's check it out. One thing we need to check first is what type of roof you got. So today we do have a raised rail option, and that's what this kit is going to work with. The way you can tell is if you can get your hands underneath your rails, you got a raised rail. Now, if you come over here and you can only grab onto the rail, that's going to be a flush option. And if there's no rails up here whatsoever, that's going to be a naked roof option. So what I'd recommend doing is just putting your vehicle's information into our fit guide to find the right one for you. And what's great about roof racks are they're going to allow you to carry a lot more accessories on your vehicle. Because trying to cram everything in here can lead to very tight situations, or maybe that stuff just won't fit back there if you have anything longer like kayaks or skis. Now, another great option is putting something into your hitch receiver, whether it be a trailer or a hitch carrier. Those are great, but they're going to take up a lot more space where you're driving. And the nice thing about that roof rack is it's going to keep the footprint of your vehicle just the same. It won't extend it out any further, so if you're in a tight spot, you don't have to worry about it as much. Now, what's making the one we have today unique is, like I said earlier, it's going to have more integrated features, and those integrated features allow this to be an easier rack to work with. And our kit today is going to be comprised of two parts. There's going to be the crossbar on top, and there's going to be the tower beneath it. So looking at the crossbar, this is going to be 48 inches in length, and it's going to be an Aero style bar. What that basically means is it's going to be more aerodynamic to help reduce wind noise. We're also going to have this T-channel right here, and that T-channel is going to be where you can actually mount additional accessories. Just in case you're running into the issue, if you have any clamp-on accessories that just won't work with your tower right here, you'll have more real estate to work with now. And we're going to have this built-in rubber weather strip. That weather strip is going to prevent any wind from whistling through there, and it's going to keep any debris or water from settling in here either. And moving down to the tower, you'll notice we do have this lock core on here. That's pretty nice because a lot of roof racks don't come with lock cores. That's nice that we get that right out of the box. And if I unlock that real quick, remove that, you're going to see what we have underneath here. So underneath here, we do have this little knob, and this is great because this is what you're going to use to tighten everything into place. I like that it's only one point, so there's not too much of a mess underneath here, and it's integrated. So you don't have to worry about having any additional tools or losing anything. And that's going to tighten the strap that goes all the way around and secures right here. You're basically going to have this metal bar that grabs onto these hooks. And this is giving us a pretty good fit. Now you'll notice this wraps completely around, so I think that gives us more peace of mind. Now I've seen some better fits out there, like the Rhino-Rack roof rack. I think that's a great fit that's more of a clamp-on style. But I think either one you go with is still going to be a great choice. Let's get a few measurements just to see how this is going to live up here. So the first one I like to get is the overall height this adds. So I'm just going to measure from our rails to the top of our crossbar, which is going to be about 2.5 inches. So that's pretty low profile. So what I still recommend doing though is taking the total height of your vehicle, your crossbar, and if you have anything on top of that, just in case you're going through a really low clearance area, like a garage. The second measurement I like to get is going to be the distance underneath the crossbar. And we're looking at just a little bit over 4 inches, which is plenty of space to work with. But if you have any really bulky clamps and you have a sunroof up here that expands pretty high up, I just recommend keeping an eye out for it. The next two measurements I want to talk about are going to be the crossbar spread. Now, what's nice about this is we're not using a fixed mounting point, so you can really adjust this to fit your needs because different type of accessories will have different types of crossbar spread needs. But what we can really focus on is going to be our overhang. And it's going to be a little bit dependent on where these crossbars are. So if we're in the back, you'll notice we have a little bit of space to work with here. So this is going to stick out about 2.5 inches. If you have any smaller accessories like ski carriers, that should fit here because those straps aren't very large. But when I go to the front side, you notice we have a lot less space. That's only going to be a little bit over an inch. And the reason why is because this roof actually tapers out a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit wider in the front of it. So you might not be able to get some of those accessories at this point. And that's one of the good things about having this T-channel up top, because it'll open you up to more opportunities. And this is going to have a pretty good weight capacity. And what's probably going to be your limiting factor is going to be your roof. So what I'd recommend doing is finding that in your owner's manual and then going from the lowest rated component. As for how it holds up, I think this is a pretty great fit. One of the only downsides I see with this one though is just pretty much the aesthetic. I'm not a big fan of the design of the towers. They are a little bit rounded, and I'm not too crazy about this little silver area that goes through the center of your crossbar. But that's just my personal opinion. I think if I were to compare it to anything else, if you are looking for a nicer look, then I'd recommend the Inno Roof Rack. We tried that out earlier today, and I think that looks really nice up here. It's just more of a sleek design. But that one's not going to have as many integrated features as the one we have today. And if you're curious about the installation, just stay tuned. We'll walk you through the process. To start off the installation, I like to lay everything out. So right here, we're going to have the crossbar itself. We're going to have the tower. Along with that, we're going to have the end cap. You have a set of keys that come with this. And I like to grab a tape measure just to make sure everything stays even. Where I like to start, it's actually with installing the tower. Now this is going to be pretty easy. All we have to do is flip this around. A lot of times you will have to take off this end cap, not with these crossbars though. All we're going to do is come over here. You're going to have this little square. You're going to press on it, push it underneath, push this all the way over here until you have this large opening. That large opening is going to house these little tabs. So I need to make sure I put it on the right orientation. So I want to make sure this little tab here is sticking out away from the center of the crossbar. And I'm just going to push those together to kind of feel it grab on. And before we do anything else, I'm just going to apply pressure and push it out, just so it locks into place. And then I'm going to do that on the other side. At this point, I'm just going to put it on my roof. And to do that, we need to make sure it's in the right orientation. So we want to make sure this thicker point is in front of us and the thinner point is behind us. And to do this, we're just going to lift up, put it roughly where we want it to sit. If it's not sitting up there perfectly, that's okay. We can adjust it later on. But basically, you want to make sure this rubber strap is wrapping all the way around. And we're getting a seat just like this, where it's almost flush at this point right here. With it in place, let's start getting some measurements. We want to make sure it's even on either side, so you can go about this two ways. You can find a point, so let's say the front of this crossbar. Let's say we're going to line it up with this door right here. You can do it that way. Now, if you want a more precise way of doing it, you can just grab that tape measure. I want to find a location that's the same on either side, like the very edge of this opening, and I'm going to measure to the very edge of our tower. Once you've done that, you're just going to do the same thing on the other side and make sure it's the same measurement. Now we can get our overhang. So I find the best way to do that is to use that tape measure probably from that little knob here all the way out. That's going to be about an inch right here. I'm just going to make sure it's the same distance on the other side. If it's not, I'm going to adjust that. I'm just going to come to the very end, to the side that has a little bit more overhang, and I'm just going to tap on it until it's even. We can still cinching this into place. I find the best way to do that is just to come over here and use our little knob here. And we're just going to take our time with it. The best way to do this is to tighten this until you have just a little bit of resistance, and then just go to the other side. You'll repeat that same process, just going back and forth, just so you don't tighten it too much and then it pulls to one side, giving you an uneven fit. Eventually, you're going to hit a point that you have a lot of resistance. Once you get to that point, then you can pretty much stop. I like to try to keep this centered up, angled just like this. And you're just going to put your end cap into place and lock it up. Once that's locked up, I recommend coming by and just giving it a good shake test, making sure it's not going to go anywhere. And if this feels pretty solid, you can repeat this process on the back side. But that was just a look at the installation and some of the features of the Inno Roof Rack on our 2023 Toyota RAV4. I'm Matt. Thanks for watching.